All right, so we're gonna start with our fabric, and I've measured it out to be 34 centimeters across and 24 centimeters down. Go ahead and fold this in half. Now this measurement does fit a standard size woman. If you're making it for a teenager or a woman with a small face like myself, I would make that 23 centimeters across instead of 24. I'm just ironing it so that everything is nice and flat. There we go. Now what you're going to do is you're going to measure from the outside in 8 centimeters, and you also want to measure about a 1/2 inch down. I checked that in centimeters, and it's about 1 1/4 centimeters down. It's just easier for me to measure it at a 1/2 inch than to do that at the centimeters. So I'm going to measure a 1/2 inch down because that's where my sew line is going to be. There, get that marked. Actually, let me get an opposite color so you can see the marking better. See, measured that 1/2 inch down. And now I'm going to measure this at 8 centimeters. So from here down, we have the 8 centimeters. And I'm going to come over to the other side and do the same thing. Measure down a 1/2 inch. And then my 8 centimeters. All right, so I've got both sides marked now, 8 centimeters in and a 1/2 inch down. I'm gonna go ahead and sew this line and this line. Perfect. Now what you're going to do is you're gonna flatten this out, and we're gonna iron this part down. So we have that nice and flat. Get out our iron. I got this iron from Walmart. I just love it. It's so nice and cute and dainty. All right, now that we've ironed that down, we're going to fold this back. Make sure everything is folded correctly and it's straight. Here we go. Now we're going to iron the flap down. There we go. There we go. Now it's nice and flat. I'm just going to do another once over anyway. Good. Now we're going to go ahead and do some more measurements on here. First measurement again is from the inside. From the outside in, we're doing 8 centimeters. Get that marked. I mainly want to make sure that I have it marked up here at the top. You see that right there? I'm going to mark the other side at 8 centimeters as well. Now from the top down, I'm going to measure 5 centimeters. and from the bottom up, another 5 centimeters. We're going to do this to both sides. From the outside corner in, we're going 8 centimeters. And from this outside corner in, 8 centimeters. And just like we did on this side, we're going to go from the bottom up 5 centimeters. And from the top down 5 centimeters. All right, so what we have is 8 centimeters, 5 centimeters, 5 centimeters, and 8 centimeters. Now we're going to join these. We're going to sew these, but not just yet. Before I do, I want to get my other measurements. So you're going to take a longer ruler. See, this one's too short for me. It might make it, but I'd rather use my longer ruler for this. And we're going to fold this over. Make sure you meet both ends and that the ruler is right up against that fold. There we go. And draw that line. Now we're going to fold it this way. Make sure everything measures evenly, and our ruler is right on that line. There we go. Now we've got this middle part that we're going to be doing our next measurements. Now, from this middle point up, we're going to measure 2 centimeters. See how we have the, from the middle point up is the 2 centimeter. Let's do this. And from the middle point down, another 2 centimeters. Now from this middle point over, I'm going to measure 1.5 centimeters. There. So I've got 2 centimeters, 2 centimeters. Did that backwards. It's 2 centimeters down, 2 centimeters up, and 1.5 centimeters over. So now I'm going to connect these points. And what's in blue, this is going to be my sew line. But again, I'm not going to sew just yet. I'm going to flip my material over, and we're going to work on this side now. So once again, I'm going to fold it in half. Get my middle spot and get that marked. And this marking line it doesn't matter how long or short you make it. You just want to make sure it's long enough so that you're able to do your next sets of measurements. This line does matter, so you do want to make it go all the way across. So let's go ahead and fold this in half. Got that. Make sure this ruler is set against my fabric. And I'm going to draw my line all the way across. From this line in, we're measuring 8.5 centimeters. Gotta love this. There we go. And from this side in, 8.5 centimeters. So let me get rid of that. There we go. So here to here, 8.5, here to here, 8.5. Now, from this line up, we're measuring 1.5 centimeters. And from that point down, 1.5 centimeters. And the same thing on this side. From this point up, 1.5 centimeters. And from this point down, 1.5 centimeters. There we go. Now, from the point over, we're only going to measure 1 centimeter. Make that line, and from this point up is 1 centimeter. And we're doing it on this, going this way, okay? Now let's go ahead and join these points. All right, so the measurements again, from the outside in are 8.5 centimeters. From the middle point up is 1.5 centimeters. Middle point down is 1.5 centimeters. From the middle point over is 1 centimeter. And then join those points. Now let's sew everything together. We're going to sew everywhere you see the blue lines. Okay, so I've already sewn the edges here, but I wanted to show you how to sew the triangle on the inside. So what you're going to do is you're going to put your hand inside your filter pocket hole, because you want to make sure you're not sewing to the other side. You're going to lift this up, and right where that line is where you want to fold this in half, making sure that you don't gather this material down here, just the top material only. And then you're going to sew that triangle. See the triangle? All right, so let's go ahead and sew this first triangle on. get my point, and then turn and come down the triangle. There we go. Now let's finish this off with a knot. There we go. And see, we have our triangle right here. And we didn't sew this part at all. But now we're going to turn it around and do these two triangles. Let me do a second knot just in case. Got it. Nice. All right. So we've got our two triangles here that I've sewn, this triangle and the edges. Now we're going to cut away the excess material. So from our edges, we want to make sure that we cut on this side of our sew line so that we're not cutting through our stitches. And we're going to save this material. We're going to save this material because I'm going to use that to make our nose bridge pocket. Let's do all four sides. Last one. All right. Now we're going to cut on the inside of our triangle. See right there, the inside of it. Be careful that you don't cut your stitching. There we go. See that? Now we're going to do the same thing to these. Got it. All right, now that we've got all of our points cut off, we're going to get our elastic ready. So just go ahead and get this folded in half. You'll see immediately how that filter pocket goes in. See that right there in the middle? It's going to be. Isn't that nice? Get our points out so that we can get those in. You want these two sew lines to meet in the middle. There we go. I've got my elastic here. I'm making this mask for my wife. So I'm going to be measuring this out at 13 inches. So it'll be about 6.5 inches for each ear. If I were making it for me, I would measure it out at around 11 inches. Because again, I have a small face. She has a normal size face. Once I have that measured, go ahead and fold it in half. Now I have one for each side. Gonna get our elastic put in here. Just get that pushed down as best as you can. Clip that on that side. Get this side pushed down. Here we go. Clip this side. We're going to do the same thing to this side. So we're going to sew from here to this side. All right, so I finished sewing the other side. And now it's time to turn this inside out and get the nose bridge put on. Let's go ahead and push those out. You can pull on these to make sure you get the ends out like they should. Let's get that. There we go. You want to make sure that these points come out like it should. Get this all nicely flattened down on the inside. Nice. Oop. All right, so see how it's already looking? We got the points. Here are the two chin points, and here's the nose point. I'm going to iron all this nice and flat. Now you can leave it like this if you want and just get your filter put in. But I'm going to put a nose bridge in right here. But I'm going to do it from the inside. So with this scrap of fabric that I had cut off the ends, I'm going to use that to make my nose bridge. I'm going to turn it on the long side here. And there's really no measuring this. I mean, if you want to, we can measure it to be about 1 inch in. There we go. And then just straighten this out some. There we go. Get that straight. Yeah, about as, it doesn't need to be totally straight because you're not going to see this anyway. Just going to fold that under and just use my fingernail instead of using the iron to get that crease in. I'm going to fold this 2 ways. First way is fold it in half this way. Get that crease. And then fold it in half this way. There we go. I'm just going to do a running stitch right across here. It doesn't need to be, you know, perfect stitching. Again, you're not going to see this. This is just to make sure that the nose bridge doesn't come out. There we go. Got that. Now it has an opening on this side and an opening here, but I'm going to close up this opening up here because I only need it to be open on one side so I can take my nose bridge in and out. That, and it helps me get to the point up here because that's where I want to sew next. Now, taking your face mask, this is the outside, and here we go on the inside. I'm going to line up my middle point with the middle point of my mask. You can pin this, you can use your clip to clip it and hold it in place for you. But you want to make sure that you get the two pieces of material as close together as possible. And just going to get it to the very edge here and sew that in. And I've sewn mine different ways. I've gone, I don't even know what the stitch is called, but it's, going over back and forth. And I've had it go across. It's whatever you feel like doing, whatever is comfortable for you. I just want to get past where the material is doubled up there to make it easier. There we go. And past that part. Now I want to put this as close to the edge as possible so I don't really see the stitch on the outside. But again, if someone notices your stitching, then they're just way too close to you. I'm just doing, I guess this is called a back stitch. Guys, forgive me, I'm not a sewer, so I don't know all of the terminology. Good. You just want to get the least amount of material as possible so it's not, an obvious stitching. There we go. I'm almost to the end now. All right, there we go. Now I don't want to close this end because that's where I'm going to be putting my nose bridge. So what I am going to do is I'm going to come inside here in my hole and come up to where my nose bridge pocket is and hold that open while I just tack down this to get down to the bottom. There we go. Now I'm at the bottom of my nose bridge. And I want to make sure that I'm only gathering this material, not the whole thing. So I'm going to keep my fingers in there while I go across. There we go. All right, now I'm just going to finish this off in a knot. Maybe two. Got it. Nice. All right, so I've got my nose bridge on there. Now let's go ahead and get that all put together in there for you. I got these nose bridges online on Amazon. Got 100 of them. I forgot how much they were. They weren't really very expensive. Get my other pair of scissors. I'm going to come in here and stick that in. See how it stops right there? That's what we want. And look, I'm only using about half of it, which is really good. So I bend that at the half mark. Don't use the scissors that you sew with. Use another pair of scissors to cut these. They cut really very easy. I'm going to round it out just a little bit so those points aren't in there. And in fact, I'm going to stick this side in so that this naturally rounded one that they cut is the one that's sticking out. And there's no reason for me to peel the paper back because it is going in the pocket instead of on the outside. But there it is. See that? How you can bend that now. And now I'm going to go ahead and get my filter inside. Let me show you what I use for my filter. I got this filter online at Amazon. It's the Filtrit 2200. It's the only one that I found that says that it filters bacteria and viruses also. It's a little expensive, but it comes in a pack of 2. I've made, oh my gosh, more than 50 masks already, and this is still from the first filter. I haven't even opened up the second one yet. So I'm going to cut this out and usually measure it by, how many pleats here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to do 5 pleats. And if you don't have a filter or you just don't want to use this, you can also use a dryer sheet. But you can add them both in just so everything smells so nice and fresh when you've got the mask on, because, depending on how long you're having to wear your mask, it's going to get a little tiresome to be breathing in the same air. So I'm going to measure this to be the same length. I'm going to use both only because, I feel comfortable with my Filtrit filter. It makes me feel better. And I also like the smell of the dryer sheet. Now watch how easy this is. You got your hole. You stick your filter inside. Open it up. Open it up on this side also. Here we go. Everything is opened nicely. Let me get my pockets back down. Get everybody like they should. And here you go. Your mask is ready to be worn. Let me show you how this looks. What I love about this particular mask, do you see this bulge here? It keeps the mask from being close on to your mouth, so you have that extra space, and it's a lot cooler, especially in the summertime, or if you you don't like a mask that's right on your face. Let me show you. All right, so here's the mask with the nose bridge right here. Now remember, I made the straps for my wife and not myself. But there you go. You just fit the nose bridge on your nose good. And now, had I made this for me, you would see that, you know, it's tight down here at the bottom and tight on the sides also. Fits really well up here. With your glasses on, they go right on top so that you're not getting all that fogginess from your glasses. And I love the space right in here. And oh my gosh, this smells so good with the dryer sheet inside. Oh, and it's very easy to breathe through, even with both the dryer sheet and my filter in. I just really love how this is. Well, there you go. I hope you enjoyed my video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. See you all next time. Bye.